Well, hey friends, and happy Thanksgiving week. Today we are going to be doing all the Thanksgiving things. I guess you could call this my Thanksgiving favorites video because it is going to involve my favorite foods to cook this time of year, my favorite outfits to wear this time of year, and my favorite crafts to do with kids this time of year. So if you're new here, my name is Megan. I have two daughters. One is 1 year old and one is 3. And I also teach half day at their preschool. So I teach the baby class. It's like 6 weeks to 18 months at the start of the year. So it's kind of like a baby and toddler class. I tell you that because crafts for that young of an age are a bit different than whenever you get to like 3, 4, 5 years old. It's just, there's not as much that you can do. So I'm really having to get creative with what crafts we come up with so that it's not just every single thing I send home or everything I put in their memory book at the end of the year. It's not all just their handprint or their footprint. Like, those things are great, but I don't want 72 of them from my own children. So I don't know about other people, but I'm assuming that they don't want that from theirs either. So in saying that, I'm just going to share some of my favorites with you guys from all of those categories. I will go ahead and say I did not come up with like 95% of these, possibly even 100. I, like most people, I find a lot of my inspiration and resources on the internet, and namely Pinterest. So I will link all of the original sources down below in the description box so that they can get credit and you can go check out the how-tos or the original inspiration from the ones that actually made it. So I know this is being done a little bit backwards because last week I posted a video about like the Christmas presents that you could consider making for this Christmas season. And now we're like jumping back to Thanksgiving, and then who knows what we'll do next week. So we're just kind of all over the place right now. I do have some Christmas decorations up, but I also still have all of my fall stuff up. And I'm kind of just like soaking it all up. And I hope that you'll do that with me. But I am super glad that you're here. I hope that you enjoy this. And yeah, let's get started. All right, so first off, this is like my everyday casual, go work at the preschool, go to family dinner, whatever. I just love the puff sleeve detail on this casual striped mustard colored shirt with high-waisted dark denim and white Nikes, and then a cozy cardigan over the top. And then for church, I recently wore this rust colored dress with smocking at the top and a cozy cardigan over it as well with boots. And then this is my go-to, like, just got home, mama's ready to get things done, or a casual Saturday around the house outfit, but still wanting to look somewhat put together in case someone stops by or we need to run to the store. It's this, I don't even know, this comfortable shirt hoodie thing, and then these pants, y'all. These pants have got a special recognition because they are leggings, but they're sweatpants, and I don't know how it happens, but they are so comfy. And I'll put the brand on here somewhere when I look at the tag because everybody needs a pair. And then finally, this kind of meshes it all together. I have a green button down that's pretty casual, it's cotton, and then a cozy sweater over the top with ripped denim. And then the boots I also want to highlight because these are actually Chaco boots. So if you are a big Chaco fan, definitely look into their boots. I don't know much about what I can say for their hiking, but in terms of comfort and durability, I've had these for years and definitely recommend. Okay, and then part 2, these are always fun. So this is just a general fall craft. You do their thumbprints around a tree that you printed out. You can put a sweet little quote on it if you want. And then you have this scarecrow handprint, which, ignore the mess of a handprint, but you never know what you're going to get with toddlers. But this is my favorite, absolute favorite. I loved it when I found this. Ran out of hot glue sticks, so I was having to use a paintbrush to jam down in there. If you know the struggle, you know. But I had my girls paint these turkeys. They just painted a white piece of paper brown, and then I cut them out in the shape of a turkey, had pictures printed, and then like kind of each of our family members, all of their grandparents are going, and great grandparents are going to be getting one of these. And I just love this idea. And of course, there's always things that you don't get to. So this, you just use sponges to paint around the paper plate and put a turkey head on the front. Then you have sensory bins. This one is putting cotton balls into a bottle that looks like a turkey. And then, you know, like color matching, and I've seen this with your name and the letters of the name as well. Shaker bottles out of corn. I mean, so many fun ideas, but maybe next year. And the best for last is food. One of everybody's favorite things about Thanksgiving, I think, is the food. So one of the first meals that I was putting together this week is a classic for our household all year round, just regular old meat and potatoes. On this night, we did steak with potatoes, but it's one thing to, you know, just say that you have potatoes, but really you added water to a bag, and no shame because we do that a lot throughout the year. But I finally gotten to the point where I don't need to be reminded how to make homemade mashed potatoes. So I'm just going to put this here in case anybody else needs a little refresher. You peel the potatoes, you boil them in water, and then you drain the water, mash up all the potatoes because they should be good and soft at this point. I like to use a hand mixer, but I know some people have other kitchen gadgets and things that they use. And then you add butter, add milk, mix it up some more. I go back and add butter, add milk, taste test, add salt, add pepper. I just do it. I don't do a certain measurement of each thing. I taste test as we go. And if I was making this to take somewhere, obviously I probably would not use that method, but to just do it at home, that's how I like to do it. I will say that it's very easy to get homemade mashed potatoes either too soupy or not like watery enough, not creamy enough, so that whenever they cool, they're kind of just like a big clump. So I tend to get mine a little bit extra watery, but still not too much. That way, when they cool, they're still good. And then these steaks, I shared this idea of a recipe in my Christmas present idea post last week, but it's the Texas Roadhouse copycat rub, and it's always the best. And then I had a lunch at school. We had like a teacher Thanksgiving feast, but we also served all of the kids before we ate our lunch. So for their late snack, early lunch, they got to eat the Thanksgiving feast as well. And for every Thanksgiving meal this year, I've signed up for the exact same items to bring so that I don't get confused, so that I don't have to put forth any extra brain power. I said I would bring green beans and a dessert to every single one. So this was my dessert. I made homemade apple pie. I did not home make the apple pie crust. I want to do that this year. I want to learn how. I don't have a food processor, and I've seen that it is an absolute booger if you try to do it by your hands. So I don't know if I'll get to that. Maybe I can borrow somebody's food processor in my family. But anyways, this apple pie is so good. I've been making it for years. Recipe is linked down below in the description box, but you just chop, peel, chop, core the apples, all that. And then you set them aside, mix up your filling, like caramelized filling, and then toss the apples in it. Put the pie crust in the pan, dump the apples in there where it's like slightly mounding, and you reserve like a third of the filling from when you toss the apples, and then that's what you brush over the top pie crust. So then you bake it at, I think, 350. Like I said, check down below. Oh no, you start higher. You bake it at something crazy high, like 400 for the first few minutes with foil on, and then you remove the foil and bake for like 50 more minutes at 350. But it turns out great every time. Definitely recommend. Crowd favorite, especially with ice cream. And then these green beans are the most simple thing ever. Like, I was just throwing these in the crock pot so quickly first thing in the morning when I woke up. Barely even had to think about it. I did 4 cans of green bean, 4 tablespoons of butter sliced up, and then 2 pieces of bacon cut up all throughout. And that's literally all that it is. Well, salt and pepper to taste, and then you put enough water just to cover all of it by like half an inch. But that's it. And then you just cook on low for 4 hours. Or maybe it's high for 4 hours. I don't know. It's down in the description box too. Y'all know that I don't do much from memory or my own creation. I use recipe for everything. But yeah, other than my mashed potatoes, you should be proud of me for that one. If you've been here for a minute, you know that I am not always in the kitchen, but I'm trying and I'm learning, and I love it. And then we move on to this chili recipe. And you guys, I've been doing this for a few years. Also, it's one of the most cozy recipes, and I actually found it when we had deer meat, because the recipe that you'll see linked down below is a venison chili. And that's what I had originally found it for, because we had deer meat, we had our small group coming over, so I needed to make a lot, and I needed the deer meat to thaw quickly. And if you know, then like if you're familiar with deer meat, then you know that's usually not the case. But this chili recipe was an awesome option because I was able to just let it do its thing all day. And I still won't say that it thawed super quickly, but all of the juices and the Dutch oven itself just is super good at like heating evenly, that it got perfectly cooked and everything in time for our small group to come over. So it was still several hours, just heads up. And typically I don't put like canned chili beans. I use just red kidney beans straight from a bag. I don't pre-soak or anything. They stay in the Dutch oven long enough that they don't need that. But this time someone had given me some chili beans, so we did that. And then I, of course, had to mix up some of Mama's homemade cast iron cornbread to go with it, because how can you have chili without cast iron cornbread? And her recipe is super simple. I don't know where she got it from. I think it's like a passed down thing, or I really have no idea. But it's very easy too. It's just like maybe a half stick of butter, 1 cup cornmeal, 1 egg, and then enough buttermilk to cover. And you mix it, pour it into the cast iron, and cook it. I don't remember what you set your oven to, but it'll be down below too, I promise. And it usually takes like maybe 15 minutes. It's nothing crazy. I actually was so excited to eat all of this that I forgot to take fresh video footage. This is from lunch the next day. And then this is a crock pot chicken recipe that we've really been enjoying recently. I think we love it so much because it's not your typical like onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, what a lot of chicken recipes are, or even like honey garlic. It's paprika is the dominant flavor here, and it is so good. And so we just went ahead and we had thawed out meat early and then didn't get around to using it that evening. So we went ahead and just like marinated this in the bag overnight, kept it in the fridge obviously, and then moved forward with putting it into the crock pot the next day. So super delicious. And then of course homemade bread is a year-round thing as well, but especially in the fall, there's just something about it to go with soups and sandwiches. And in this case, crock pot chicken, like it just goes so good with everything, and it's so cozy. And I love this no knead Dutch oven recipe that I've been using for probably close to a year now. It's super simple. You just mix the yeast, salt, and water. Let it sit for about 5 minutes until the yeast gets kind of bubbly. And then you go ahead and add like 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, mix it up, and then that's it. You just put a tea towel over it, let it rise for 2 to 3 hours, and then once that is done, you heat your oven to 450 degrees. They recommend doing it with the Dutch oven in there so that it gets really good and hot. And then once it's done preheating, take it out, put your dough in, and then cook it in the Dutch oven. In the oven, yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? You cook the bread in the Dutch oven and the Dutch oven in the oven, and you do that for like 20 minutes with the lid on, and then the last 5 to 10 minutes you take the lid off, and yeah, just keep an eye on your crust, and as it starts to turn golden brown, that's when you take it out. I usually go less with the time because I find that it cooks pretty quickly. We really love this. The crust is a bit tough because you're not kneading, but in the end, it's still absolutely fantastic. Like such a staple around this house, and so much healthier than anything you'll buy at the store. Okay, friends, well, that is a wrap. As I'm sitting here kind of going through and editing this video, I wasn't totally sure how I was going to do the outro on this until right now. I wing it a lot, but it keeps things real, so I like it that way. But it also adds stress. If you're wondering, yeah, it stresses me out often and pushes me up against a lot of deadlines, and that's why sometimes videos aren't like to a week exactly when they're posted. So just love me, okay? Just love me anyways. But I was realizing that I know a lot of the times when people post things as like their favorites videos or whatever, it's things that they're recommending buying. And I realized after I got basically all the way through this, like, that's not what this is. That's not what this is. So I don't know, maybe I should title it something different, but ultimately this is my favorite. These are my favorite things. This is my favorites video for Thanksgiving. And Obviously this is like very compartmentalized. I broke it down into the 3 major categories, and there's a lot of things. Like whenever I think of Thanksgiving, I just think of my childhood and leaves burning and men in my family just standing around talking and leaned up on their rakes, and kids running around out in the backyard and playing football and football on the TV. And there's just so many memories that come. I just love that, like at the heart of it, I think a lot of our favorite things in life have so much to do with sentiment. They have so much to do with nostalgia, and that's what so many of these things are for me. And I'm just excited that we're getting to start traditions with our own children, with our family. Nicholas and I, this is, I don't know how many Thanksgivings or holiday seasons together for us this will be, but we've been married 5 years, almost 6, and our oldest daughter is 3. So we've had several years now where we've been getting to kind of come up with our favorite staple recipes for this time of year and our favorite desserts that we like to take to family meals. And goodness, I could just get emotional because it's just so cool how these things happen over time, and how it feels like sometimes it feels like so long ago when I look back at our first Thanksgiving married, and every year since then, every year has looked so different because of whatever reason. But anyways, I just am getting sappy here. I wanted to finish this by sharing one of my new favorite quotes that I've recently seen through a post that my cousin shared on Facebook. Because as much as I love all of these other things, I think this quote really, it hits home for me and for us as a family. So here it goes. Someone you know is preparing for their first Christmas, but we're on Thanksgiving. So someone you know is preparing for their first Thanksgiving without their husband, wife, mother, father, brother, sister, daughter, or son. Others are preparing for their last. Regardless of the specifics, remember that this season of joy is oftentimes a sorrow for many. Be kind, be generous, give love, give help. But if nothing else, just don't give people a hard time. And as someone who, if you've been around for a little bit, you know this, but as someone who definitely did not expect to lose their dad 3 months ago yesterday, completely unexpectedly, last holiday season, never ever would have guessed that this holiday season would be about to look like whatever it's about to look like. Like, we have no idea what it's going to be like. It's going to be different. It's going to be hard. But we're thankful that the rest of us are going to get to be together for it. And so anyways, in saying all of that, just a gentle reminder, friendly encouragement to remember that most likely someone in your life is walking through a season very similar to what we are. And if not, like if you look around and you feel like you don't have anybody in your life that's going through that, or that can relate, maybe you can't relate, just think about the line that says, not to be morbid, but people are walking into a season where they don't know this is going to be their last holiday with that family member. And I don't say that lightly, because last year I kind of wish that I had had that reminder. Maybe I would have slowed down a little bit more, taken things a little bit more for what they were, just been more appreciative. So yeah, I just wanted to end with that because I think it's such an applicable quote to so many people, and it's one of my new favorites, and it's one that I'm carrying with me this holiday season, because not only are we walking through a time of grief and a holiday season that looks drastically different than ever before, but it helps me to not have my blinders on, and it helps me to remember that other people might be going through the same. So if nothing else, even on the hard days, if I can just not give someone else a hard time, then hopefully that'll be doing them a favor, and it'll just make the holidays a little bit happier, a little bit easier for everybody around me. So I'm so glad that you came along today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back next week, because I'm thinking that I'm going to do a holiday home tour. Basically, since my home is fully decorated for Christmas right now, I still need to do the porch, but everything else is good. So yeah, figured we may get a night without at least one child, maybe 2, over this Thanksgiving break. And what better time than to tidy up and take you on a little tour. So I hope you'll come back for that. I post each week, usually on Sunday afternoons. That's my goal. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, wherever you're at. Bye, guys.